Hi everyone, welcome to Algebra 2. In this video, we will review topic 1. Topic 1 was about functions, right? So on page 65 in your textbook, we start with number 1 topic essential question. This essential question is for the whole topic. So as we learn topic 1, we are finding skills. We are learning the skills to explain this topic essential question. So what is this big question? What are different ways in which functions can be used to represent and solve problems involving quantities? So we looked at many different types of functions. We started with the key features of a graph. We talked about domain and range. We talked about the function notations and transformations. We talked about linear equations. We talked about inequalities as well. So this is a really big question, and you want to be able to answer it using summary of each lessons. So I would write down summary for the lessons. It's gonna be a lot, but let me try. Okay. So let's start with the key features of a graph. The key features of a graph includes the domain, range, and intercepts, x and y intercepts. They reveal the relationships between two quantities. Okay, so this was one thing that we talked about, that we learned. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of what we learned, right? I'm gonna keep writing. To determine the range, the y values of a function need to correspond to the minimum and maximum x values in the graph. Okay. And then we also talked about the function transformations, right? So we can say function f of x is equal to a times f of b of x minus h, parentheses, and then bracket, plus k is transformed by changing the values of a, b, h, and or k. I know it's a little bit hard to see. Let me move this up here. Yeah. Okay, and then that was the transformation. Let's talk about systems of equations. Systems of linear equations can be solved graphically by estimating the point of intersection and algebraically using substitution or matrices. right? We talked about this. We learned how to use these methods. And then systems of linear inequalities can be solved by graphing. Let me put this with the last sentence. Oh, I didn't finish this sentence. Let me go back. So a function f of x equals a times f of b of x minus h plus k transformed by changing the values of a, b, h, n, or k. By changing the values of h and k results in a horizontal or vertical translation. Remember? Changing the sign of a or b results in a reflection across one of the axes. Changing the value of a or b results in a horizontal or vertical stretch or compression. So I'm not going to write all of that, but this form should remind you of the transformation. Okay, let me make this smaller. And then I'm going to okay. There you go. All right, so that was number 1. This is just a summary of your topic. So the topic essential question is a really big question. You don't have to write the exact words as I wrote, but this is about summarizing your topic. Look back and reflect what you have learned in this topic. Okay, we're going to look at the vocabulary review. So obviously this is also not the entire vocabulary list that we looked at in this topic, but these are the key vocabulary we talked about in this topic. So let's see what the list of vocabularies are. Step function, piecewise defined function, minimum, maximum system of linear equations, transformation, zero of the function. Let's try to fill in the blanks. The blank pairs of every input in an interval with the same output value. So this is obviously about a function, right? So in what function pairs every input in an interval with the same output value? If you don't know, we can come back later. But you have to think about the input and the output and make sure it's a function. So in this list of vocabulary, we have step function and a zero of the function. So zero of the function is not something close to this, right? Zero of the function is where your y is equal to 0. Right? So, or your function is equal to 0. So step function is something that you can use here. So number 2 is step function. Step function pairs every input in an interval with the same output value. Number 3, the point at which a function changes from increasing to decreasing is the blank of the function. So the function keeps increasing and then at some point it decreases. So this point is it the minimum or the maximum? Yeah, it's the maximum of the function. Okay, so we have step function, maximum used. Number 4, a blank of a function y equals a times f of x minus h plus k is a change made to at least one of the values a, h, and k. So we just talked about it in number 1. So this function is a general form to describe all the different transformations, right? So it is a transformation of a function. Let me zoom in. Okay, and then number 5, a blank is the value of x when y is equal to 0. We just talked about it, right? 0 of the function is the value of x when y is equal to 0. Okay, number 6, a blank is defined by 2 or more functions, each over a different interval. It has 2 or more functions, and it has different intervals. So if you have 2 or more functions combined together over intervals, this is a piecewise defined function. Okay. Good. Now that we have reviewed our vocabulary for the topic, let's start looking at each lesson to review what we have learned in topic 1. We'll continue with the next video.